morning, guys.
Good morning, Tata Block Olekai.
Oh, thank you.
How are you?
Oh, the other guys are still logging in. Morning. The other guys are still logging in, probably.
Yes.
Okay. And Tate Edward. Let's give others a chance to come in.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. I'm in.
Thank you for gracing our occasion.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, sir.
TFG, eh? Barking. TGF, what? Thank God it's Friday. But it's Friday for other people. For us, continue with marking because we are marking exams now.
I can't remember the last time I had a weekend that I would call a good weekend. Because of the work I do, running a business.
Yeah.
Anything goes. And even with this course, I'm left behind with some of the modules because at times I will just receive a call, go to another province, come to
run around.
It's hectic. And the recovery of now COVID-19 also was very overwhelming because some of the projects were left behind. Companies spend, they need to report. So they put us under pressure. So as a result,
it's family this side.
It's been a tough year. And again,
family.
And at the funeral also, I buried my mother-in-law this year, couple of cousins from my side and from my wife's side. Just been a crazy year for me.
And in your street, if you don't attend some of their functions, they think you are funny.
Exactly. Like tomorrow now, we've been having a talk with my wife this morning about a funeral of her friend. The uncle passed away. Now we're discussing whether we're going or not.
She'll represent you.
So
it's hectic, guys. It's hectic.
It's tough.
I'm missing my mother-in-law. She's 86. And my wife took her in to say, there's no one who's taking care of her because she's the only girl. These other guys have got their wives, they're in their houses, and she's staying alone with these boys who just go around, come late, and these boys have got their own apartments, So it's not safe.
It's not. It's not for her.
So we said, the neighbors will keep watch on the house. So such things,
such things.
So
I can't really wait for the end of the year. We measuring our start and our finish line using the year. So I can't wait to get to the finish line and start again next year with better planning because this year it was just crazy.
Genesis. Okay, guys, let me just talk to these IT guys. And then when I'm putting the connection, then go the connection is sharp. All out the KG, we really.
KG pela ke prophet ya make.
Yeah, but sonts our bonds.
Yeah, ke prophet. Namble chacha le kirle ke.
Put the lele on our plan, I must bring back that one. Yeah, can get to it.
Something.
Yeah, all right. Empire. Yeah, man. Sales. Okay, because this one only no income of ila utla jaggle around. Market what's a magayona. Because guys,
Dumelan.
I don't know when I'll be at 3 Genesis. You might see me after somewhere in January. Yeah. Okay, welcome guys. I see at least the number is increasing. We are now 7. I don't know if the other guys are still logging in. Welcome. Kimang Nonto. NN. NN. Nonto goes. Okay. Tulani.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome home. And we've got Kiboni, Lucky, Lawrence, Edward, and Wendy. Okay. Nontogozo.
Good morning, colleagues.
Quiet.
Morning,
morning, ma'am. Morning, madam. Okay. Yeah, guys, welcome to this session, the last session that we'll be having, I think, for the year, and maybe the last for your, because it's your last module. And I hope we'll ace this one so that you don't have to, so that you can enjoy your holidays. Okay. I know it's exam time now. Everyone is writing exams. It's also exams here at 3 Genesis, and almost all the classes are full. Others, they write online, thousands. So we'll be starting to mark. Already received some scripts. We'll be marking throughout the December holidays. No holidays for us. Okay, guys. We are here on summative assessment. And what I promised to say, guys, I know this was supposed to do on your own, but let us help each other have an understanding of what is needed. Okay, what is needed, so that it will be easier for you to. The only thing will be for you to ensure that you collect evidence as is required. Okay. Now this one, remember, these are knowledge questions, right? Knowledge questions. We don't necessarily need a lot of stuff here, but it's for you to show that you understand what you did. Okay. The only area where you are going to need a lot of evidence is practical assessment, because it's practical. Right. Now let us start with the knowledge questions. You answer these related to the unit standard embedded knowledge as an assessment criteria, and place your answers in your portfolio of evidence. Guys, I know that sometimes, you know what other people do? You get your own pages, and you label them correctly there, knowledge questions, and you answer, and you attach them to your POE. So some people, what they do, they complete the formative assessment, and then from there start their own workbook or answer book, where they will answer all the summative assessment questions as well as tasks, and it looks nicer. Then from there you bind it to the POE, to your POE. Okay, because it is important, this part of the summative assessment, because it is the one that is your exam. Okay, it is your exam. So the important things that the SETA looks at, as well as the moderator and the external moderator, they look at your summative, because they know that the formatives, we were helping each other and enlightening each other and all those other things, because it's proof that you were in class and you did this and this and that, at least you've got an understanding of 1, 2, 3. But that's why we don't mind, even if things are the same with your formative, because it's like your class work and your homework and, you know. But now the summative is very important. It is your own work, all right? So they concentrate on that one. When we say not yet completed, because of the summative assessment, as well as probably some of the activities that you did not complete, but not that much. But what carries weight is the summative assessment, the knowledge questions, as well as the tasks, practical, as well as the CCFOs and those things there. All right. Those carry weight. I mean, when we started, I've shown you how this is arranged. Okay. Just going back to remind you about what I'm talking about here. Okay. Where is that? Where is that? After the unit standards. Okay, where we talk about assessment. Now, do you see the assessment plan there? Okay. Knowledge questionnaire to be completed by delegate. Okay. CCFOs, do you see it there? Principles, and then these unit standards. So all formative assessment activities must be completed in session. In session. That's why I said, if you were here, I would have marked your answers, and when you leave, you would be having your whole POE formative assessment questions marked, and I would have signed off. So you'd only be concentrating on your summative. But because it is online, it will be difficult for me to assess them. All right? That's why I say, you see, these are the knowledge questionnaires, and the CCFO report must be completed. Okay? And they simulate in structured training sessions. That's why yesterday I was saying, let us help each other so that we understand how the CCFOs are presented, how you answer them. And then the simulated assessment must be completed in structured training. But now, you see, summative, this must be done within 2 weeks of submission of portfolio at resources. All right? Okay. So, summative, you can see here, delivered verbally during the assessment moderation process, delivered in writing on completion of assessment moderation process, and all those other things. All right, fine. That is our feedback. So let us go back now. You have seen the importance of your formatives and your summatives. All right, critically explain the importance of understanding the budgetary process in the public sector. Okay, how you answer this is to say what is the importance of understanding the budget process. Okay, remember, this is a diploma in public. We know there are guys from private sector, but this is for public. So as a result, you are going to talk about either departments or municipalities or, you know, all those sections which fall within the public sector. All right. Why is it important that you must understand the budgetary process, budgeting? Okay. So what things will you be looking at here? We are not saying you give us the answers, but you say, if it was me, I would write about this, about that, about that, about that. So people have an understanding there. What you will be looking at when you answer this question here. For 15 marks, and you say critically explain. Why is it important in the public sector when, you know, yeah. Wendy?
One will be looking on the responsibilities of financial managers, as well as the budgetary process. Because okay, one of the responsibilities of the financial managers, it includes financial planning, like, yeah, how the spending of the money. and financing the raising of money. So
Oh.
it could be one of the responsibilities.
But how do you start? How do you start with your answer?
I can start by defining. I can start by defining the
Right.
budgetary process.
Yes. Okay.
And also defining the financial management. What does it mean, financial management? Yes,
And then,
in the public sector.
Then what will you mention? Remember, I said everything you do in the public sector, think about what? Legislation, ne?
Yes.
And say according to the Public Finance Management Act, okay? It's important
Yes.
you define what public finance management deals with, what it is, what financial management is, what in the public sector, why is it important, okay? And then why do we have to do some of the things is because of legislation, okay? And we even mentioned in the Public Finance Management Act of what, ne? And that
Yeah.
it is important for who? For management as well as employees who deal with what? Projects, right from planning up to evaluation. Because remember, when you're evaluating, you're looking at the inputs. And remember, inputs, I said, is the 5 M's. Man, method, material, money, and okay. So as a result, how was the money expended? All right. And then this will help you in doing what? In being accountable, ne?
Yes, accountability. Yes.
Yes. All right. And then also ensuring that money is used according to the way it was budgeted for, and then you avoid what? If you understand that, you'll avoid overspending,
avoid
underspending,
overspending on the money that is not there. Yes, as well.
but also, what are those things that we talk about? Irregular, blah, 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 blah. Ne? Expenditure, ne? What do you want again? All right. But
yes.
guys, do you see actually how you get that 15 marks? And Tate Edward,
if I can just add also that you might also be avoiding not getting a clean audit from the DG.
Yes. All right. But now you saw where we started and the things that we included in there. Stick to the what the question is looking for. Okay. You only support it with the reasons that you give. All right. So that you show your understanding, because this, remember, is knowledge questions. All right.
Sorry, Tate Block.
Yes, Meneer.
I just want to find out, will I be wrong if I will start by explaining the budget from the allocation from the Minister of Finance and to the provincial and to the local government and the legislation, accountabilities, and all of these things? I'll be wrong by tackling it like that?
You won't be wrong. You'll be aiding, but it deviates from what the question is looking at, because they're not saying get into detail into how and where, but you can just mention it. That
Noted.
because allocated for the public service, for programs and projects and service delivery, right from what to what. So it's important that you understand how. You see, how you are going to budget, how you are going to plan for the usage or utilization of that resource, financial resource. See, so, and then you can add whatever that you add there, just to give it, that flesh. Okay, that's why it is 15 marks. Now let's look at the second one, which is 10 marks. Review the research methodologies mentioned in your learner guide. Imagine that you have to report on the impact of a developmental project within your department. Which methodology will you use to gather data? Explain why you would use this method and why it would be appropriate in your work environment. Okay? It is a complex question, this one. Do you see it?
Yeah.
It needs several divisions. Okay?
Yes. I think now it take us back to the research data block, because I'm thinking that the quantitative research, because it deals in numbers, logics, and objectives there. So quantitative research, it focuses on numeric and changing data and detail and so on. So like if I recall well, on the research, we're having like 4 many types of quantitative research: the descriptive, and I think the what is it? The experimentally research.
Yeah, it's part of,
and the relational. Yes.
Okay, but we want to know whether you'll use quantitative or qualitative, né? Because they say imagine that you have to report on the impact of a developmental project. Now, when you go in research, so that you must report on the impact, which methodology will you use to gather data? Okay, so when you gather data, you will see that, because when you use a certain method, the way in which you are going to gather data, it is so that either you are going to quantify it or qualify it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You'll use either questionnaires, surveys. You are going to use maybe survey and all those.
Yeah.
Right. And then explain why you would use this method. Okay. And then you have to explain, if I use this method to help me so that the data can be what, and then it can easily, quantify it, and, quantitative, because it is what.
Yes.
Okay. And then why it would be appropriate in your work, because in my work environment, it will be easier to collect data using that method, because, because if then, say you are a minister, okay, you have to report. Do you see that you start relying on your directors, different directorates in your ministry? You see, but if you are a director, it is easier because you are not far from your area of work there. Okay, so it will be easier for you to collect data using that method, and it is important because it will be easier to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to also get, you do see what I mean there, né?
Yes.
Yeah, so you are concentrating on the method that you are going to choose, okay? And what it means, that method, how it works, and then why you are going to use it, and why is it appropriate for the area in which you are researching in your department, in your line of work. Okay? And number 3, list the components of public sector development management frameworks implemented in your workplace. Okay. Now remember, we talked about 3, if you remember where. Like open. Do you remember those frameworks?
The planning, budgeting, implementation.
No, these ones. Evaluation framework, statistics and survey framework, and framework for managing programs performance information. Do you remember them? Let me put them there. Your question, your answer will revolve around these. You see them?
Yes.
Okay. Because here, the question is, list the components of public sector development and management frameworks. Okay? Which ones are the components? It's a three again. And then what they are saying is explain their contextual relevance in your environment. So in context, why is the evaluation framework important? Yeah? Why are statistics and service important? Okay. Why is it important that you look at the performance of program managing information, the information that you get from program performance? Why is it important that this should also be used? Remember, in your formative, we talked about one that you will choose and why you will choose it and why is it important that you use it in your, okay? Why it will be relevant in your work situation. Now, they want you to explain why are all of them important in the public sector. All right? All right. Do you remember it's part of a government-wide monitoring evaluation system? Okay, program performance information, and they explain it there. Ne? Standards, audits, information that you can get there. Maintain and improve structures, roles of performance information, accountability to parliament, okay? And socio-economic and demographic statistics, where you are able to get statistics and you can make informed decisions on what programs should be changed or which ones can be improved. And with evaluations, remember, where we talked about encouraging government bodies and administration, provide general guidelines on how to conduct evaluations and publish the results of evaluations. Remember, we talked about evaluation, where we said evaluation, look at the input, the output, as well as the outcomes. And we looked at this. Okay, so the question here is, you list the three, okay? And then, but you can even say how they are implemented. In our work, we get statistics and we are able to get information through management management of performance of certain programs, okay? And you use statistics and then you evaluate based on the statistics that you get. Now, you say you are talking about three of them, okay? Because they say in your workplace. So if you're in education or in health, for example, when do you measure the performances of programs that you are busy with? Like, for example, the AIDS awareness program. Okay, how do you measure the performance? Do you use it? If you use it for ensuring that you get information and then you're able to make informed decisions, but you base that on what? On statistics, because you get statistics from what is happening there. And then from there, then you can evaluate as to whether the inputs that you had, okay, were equal to the output that you are getting and the outcomes. I guess that's the why we evaluate. And then you can say, this then will make government to make informed decisions because you are informed by what you evaluated. Using statistics, but also because of what? The way in which you were managing those programs. Yeah, it's only 10 months, guys. Mention the three and that they are used in your department and how are they used Okay? In which context? That's why they say explain their contextual relevance. Are they relevant? Is it relevant that you evaluate? Is it relevant that there's evaluation in your, evaluation can be on projects, programs, on whatever, performance and, of employees as well as, right? But also, you also use statistics to that effect. Okay? And then they are based on what? On the programs that you manage. Okay, so why is it relevant? Why is it important that the three should be used? Okay. Then the fourth one there, choose one public sector development or framework, development framework model from the learner guide and one you have researched. Again, now, here they talk about the three. Why are they important? And then here, choose one now. Eh? And then compare and contrast the two models. So you take one, okay, from the learner guide and one that we have researched. If when you were researching, you felt that, but I can use any model on performance. All right. If then there's a model that you have looked into, and then you see that in your department, mostly they use, say, evaluations. Compare them and contrast the two models. Suggest which would be most appropriate to implement in your workplace. I don't know, you talked about three, and then more, you choose one. And you level any other model, this one, hey, how does it compare to the ones that are used in your department? Let's say your department mostly use evaluations, okay? But when you researched, you realize that no, man. But we can also use this one by, it can either be Kotter, it can either be Doon, it can be either be Maslow, it can be, and you say, but this one can work better than the one that we're using. And how do they differ? Okay. And why do you think this one can be better used or can be better utilized and it can give you better results than the other one? Okay. So you can see 20 marks. That first you are going to explain what the model is all about and, the importance of that model and, how it is used and things like that. And then compare it to the one that we talked about here in the book. And then you say, but, or you can also research, more on either you take program performance information as a framework, okay, and take evaluations and look at how these frameworks differ. You say, but when I looked at this one, I think it works well because it involves this and this and this and this. And you'll mention a lot of things there because you look at what they say about, statistics and Savvy framework. If you think this one is better than this one, but contrast them. This one, easily, this one talks about this and that and that. This is how it works and what. This one works like this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then when I look at the two, I prefer this one because this one will help us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in our programs, in our projects, in performance of employees, as well as in a better planning processes and things like that. Yeah, go ahead. Don't be afraid because it's 20 marks and say, yo. Take the two, contrast them. And when you contrast them, you are looking at where they differ, where they are almost the same, and what this one says, what this one is saying. Okay? So which means you explain this one in detail. You explain this one in detail. And then you make a determination to say, this one, it might be better because in my workplace, I work as this, and this is what we do. We normally deal with these projects. So this one will be most suitable. I got to add first that other question. You mentioned them, that they are important in your workplace. But now you are saying, when I take this one and look at this one because it does what, this one needs this and this and this and this. So I'll prefer this one because of this and this and this and this and that, and because of the work that I do, or because of the responsibility. I mean, from SAPs, you might use a different model than in health. So obviously, if then you are in SAPs, mostly you look at cases. Mostly you look at ensuring that cases go for trial, and then people are tried and then they are convicted. Okay, so which one maybe might be good for you so that people get convictions? Okay, because it's unfair that
the framework
people
in
get
the department. Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
now I get you.
If people get scot-free and then you find that you did not do 1, 2, 3, you are failing the community because they are looking at you to say, we lost our brother, we lost our mother, our sister, whatever, and then that guy is roaming the street. Maybe because the problem might be the manner in which the work that you used, okay, in handling the case. You see, so you can say, in my line of duty, we do this and that. As a result, not necessarily in detail. So this might come in handy because this in our work, we'll need this, we'll need that, we'll need that. So this method, this framework might work well in our department. All right. And then look at 5 there. Illustrate the strategic planning process implemented in your department organization. Strategic planning process. Explain the steps of the process, evaluating whether each is necessary. Now you did strat plan. Again.
Yes.
And then you have got the manner in which process is followed in your department. All right. So explain the steps. In our department, with our strategic planning process, this is what we do. Start by explaining what strategic planning process is, what a strategic planning is. And then you say, so in our department of what, the process is that we do this, we do that, we do that, we do that, we do that, we do that. Okay, those are the steps that you take. Okay, so you'll be saying, are all those steps necessary? Or is one of the steps in the process not necessary? And just give 1, 2 the reasons. Okay. Is it cumbersome? Is it using more resources? Is it delaying progress? We know, in our public sector, we've got a lot of red tapes. Ne? Okay. So some of the processes that we take might not be necessary. Certain steps might not be necessary during the process. Okay, so you look at the strategic planning process and you say, in our department, we follow this, we do that, we do that, we do that, we do that, we do that. Okay, and all those steps, which step do you think is not necessary? Which ones, or do you think all of them are necessary? And just give you a reason there. That one is easy, it's not that difficult. Briefly describe the process used in your organization to implement change. Okay. Now start by explaining what change means. Okay, what is change? And why is it necessary that there should be change? And then in our department, we deal with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So there's always a need for change, or there was a need for change. So the way in which change was implemented, it was like this and this and this and this and this and this and that. We did this, we did that, we did that. I think we did it the time when we did change management. I think we even talked about, your department and people gave us different things that they did to implement change. Remember when we were talking about, in education, where is it education or health, where people were not willing to use technology. They were saying that they were born before technology and what. It was difficult, but those guys who are still younger, it was easy for them. So people did not accept change. Okay? So think of that example. Okay. So say, this is what we did. I mean, you can give an example about the time of COVID. There were a lot of changes that came into effect. Okay? So that change, what was the change about, and how did you go about implementing that change? Anything, guys?
Yes. Yeah.
What is difficult? These are just knowledge questions, no?
We are fine with this one.
Yeah, you are fine. Okay. Then we have, let me upload this one and share it with you. Okay. Practical assessment. Yeah. Yeah, you have got two tasks here. Task number 1, task number 2. Task number 1, critically examine the purpose, role, and practice of government in the context of contemporary public management. Right? In your examination, you need to discuss the following. I told you that this is like an exam. Right? Now, when you are examining, when you are reviewing, you review the theory of public management, analyze theories of management and leadership implementing the public sector management, explain the role of the public sector in society. All right? Now, whilst you looked at this, contemporary public management, okay, and its purpose, role, and practice, you are going to write an essay on your findings. Okay, so when you examine, it's like a smaller research. Né? All right, you review the theory of public management, analyze theories of management and leadership implemented in public management. What normally are the theories of management that they use? All right, and the role of the public sector in society. Now, when you were examining this, then you found what? 1, you start with an introduction. In the introduction, we are going to talk about this, but in introducing contemporary public management is important in the public sector because of this and this and that. Its role is this, the purpose is that and that. Okay? Again, now is the purpose, role, and practice. So it is practiced, okay? The purpose being maybe to improve or service delivery or to fight poverty and all those other ills of the society. Okay, that's the purpose. Okay, the role is to probably give people better services and change lives of the people there. Okay, right. Now, that is your introduction. Okay, conclusion, you will include the conclusion after everything. Be argumentative, have a logical flow, and include references. All right. Now, look at what they are saying here. Try to keep your essay to the point. Present your argument in 4 to 5 pages. Remember, you have to conduct research to answer this question. You have to start practicing sound research skills when you do this. Ensure that you argue your position logically by citing from credible sources, okay? reference your sources. You can even use electronic referencing and present your answer professionally. Use paragraphing correctly and check your grammar. Okay? Now, when they say use the assessment tool provided to guide the research skills you implement, they are referring to this. Okay, when you look at task 1, learner reviewed the theory of public management. Learner critically examined the leadership and management practice used in public management. So you'll talk, and that's why I was saying, in your introduction, you talk about, that, contemporary public management is sorry, in the present, management systems because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This report will deal with why it is important, its purposes, and what. Or you can say the purpose is this and that. Your introduction should show us what we're expecting in the rest of the body. All right? And then learner critically examined the leadership and management. Then learner explained the purpose of the public sector in society. Learner's argument relates to contemporary public management. All right? Now, technical aspects. Introduction, if you include it. Conclusion, do you have anything? The argumentative writing style is used. Okay? Why you are on a certain point. Argument presented logically. Okay? You can start with the end instead of going step by step. Argument presented logically, reference list included, grammatically correct, used paragraphs effectively. Your paragraphs, you shouldn't, because some people sometimes they say so many things, and it's a nice paragraph which is almost half a page. And I'll normally say paraphrase, because we are penalized for that. A paragraph should have its theme, something that you talk about in that paragraph, rather than say so many things all along without even paraphrasing. Then you start mixing, your facts and your arguments. Your arguments should flow logically. Okay, so you see how we are going to mark that. So let's go back. What is neutrality? You research the purpose, role, and practice of government in the context of contemporary public management. Okay? Looking at what? Reviewing the theory of public management, analyzing theories of management and leadership implemented in public management. Okay? And also explaining the role of the public sector in society. Now, it is wide, this thing. Eh? It allows you to delve deep. You can talk about service delivery. You can talk about, either fighting crime, or you can talk about alleviation of poverty. You can talk about, or you can include them and say, amongst what the government is looking at this and this. You can talk about the government, the Vision 2030. You can talk about Millennium Development Goals, okay, how government is trying to reach that or to realize those goals, okay? What is the purpose, okay? And what role will it play in improving the lives of the people here in South Africa? The way in which government goes about it. Or you can take one big thing like, reconstruction development program. Or you can take, okay? I mean, if you make it easier. Because sometimes, you need to flow logically based on what we are talking about. That there are so many things, this government is looking at this, but based on the Millennium Development Goals, the most issue that I'll be looking at, I looked at is this, on how it was implemented and what. And what theory government used, okay? Whether it is working or not, okay? And what role does government play in the improvement of lives of the people. Okay, that's why they explain the role of public sector. It differs from that of private sector because it is based on service delivery. It is based on ensuring that government is run properly, like the economy is well structured, but also social lives of everyone is improved and all those things. So that is the role of the public sector in society. All right. But based on that, when it comes to this is what is happening. This is what is happening. When it comes to that, this is happening, is what is happening. Because remember, you can't take almost everything. Some of the things you'll mention just in passing to prove your point that it is critical that we should have contemporary way of doing things. We are not doing things the old way, new ways of doing things. Okay, and how is that done? Okay, and so you can even talk about government even goes to an extent of coming up with legislation, okay, so that and policy, so that whatever that they do, their actions should be backed by policy. Okay, and then how do they plan on implementing all those other programs for in the public? All right, and whether you agree with it or not, be argumentative. That's why they say be argumentative, have a logical flow. They're not confining you to one specific thing here. They just want to see your skill in examining or in researching, how government is responsible to its citizens. Let us see, guys. How do you think you can go about this after what I've explained and how I put it? Just look at that question and tell me, in my case, I think if we can look at this, if we can do it that way, 4 to 5 pages with your introduction and your body, subdivide your argument. Okay, subdivide your argument. So this is like an essay. Okay. After you have researched, you are telling us about what you have found out. It differs from the second one. You'll see with the second one. This one is pure research, the second one. But this one, and remember, you can even include some graphs. You can even include a policy or something like that to prove your argument. You can even tell us when you researched, you went to the archives and this is the method you used and what. This is like a report, guys. It's unlike here. Okay. Because with this report here, you write it like you write a report in a form of research report. Okay, where you are going to have a title page, blah, 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 blah. But with this one, you take it that you've already researched. Okay, so you are telling us, you are introducing to say this is based on this and that and that. It's true the government is important it is important for our government in South Africa to be contemporary in its management style and what. Okay, theories that they use also should be, for the benefit of communities or the public at large. Anyhow you can put it, okay? And then that's when you tell us that based on that, okay, what is the theory that government is using there? Okay, and what theories do you have of management and leadership that you see implemented in public management. Okay? Remember, leadership, we said style of leadership is very important. Okay. And management, remember, we said you can have cyclical, you can have hierarchical, you can have, you know, the structure, the way that it is. Okay. I mentioned so many things. You pick up how you can structure it, but at least be confined to you talking about how government is coming up with new ways of realizing or implementing the programs and projects that they have, and why. What is the role? What is how important is it for government, you know, to alleviate poverty, blah blah blah. Those are some of the examples there. Fight crime and what. But how does it go about doing that? Okay, I gave examples like it comes up with legislation, and how does it pass policies, okay, and how are they implemented? You can talk about national government. You can talk about, you know, 3 spheres of government. That some start there at the top, and they're cascaded down, and the ministers then look into how, and then the director generals, because through FOSAT, you know, FOSAT, Forum for Director Generals of South Africa, this is what they do. You can even include that thing, COGTA, you know. You can include municipalities, you can include, okay, and how they ensure that those things, those policies are implemented. You can even include a SCOPA, you can include MPEC in municipalities. You know, you are arguing you are showing that you understand the public sector. In short, because remember, here we talked about change, we talked about quality, we talked about negotiation, conflict resolution, we talked about monitoring and evaluation, we talked about leadership, we talked about communication, we talked about research, we talked about policy, we talked about strategic planning. What you include almost to show your understanding of how government works for the public, and why government, or how, what are the responsibilities of government in the public sector? What role does it play? What are the aims? What do they want to achieve? And how do they do that? Then you argue for or against to say, in this one, they are good because this happens like that and that and that. But you can see when it comes to ministers, sometimes this happens and what. And then sometimes some of the policies are not cascaded down to local government. Okay, because local government sometimes sees itself as an entity. But you see that we know that they are interrelated and interdependent. So there must be that relationship. There must be that coordination between national, provincial, and local. All right? So that municipalities, of course, municipalities will have bylaws, okay? But they shouldn't be against the main, you know, policies of national government. All right? And the constitution is the supreme law of the country. All right? So government uses parliament in order to push for policies to be adopted. All right? You can also talk about it starts from public opinion, and sometimes even with the conditions of the public, or people within the public sector. Okay, the people there in the communities, and once they've got challenges, then parties are formed which strive for representing the aspirations of these communities in parliament. So once they're given, and then they come up with their manifesto, and then they're given mandates because of their manifesto, because of the promises that they give or they make to communities, okay, or to the public. And then as a result, when they canvass, they get support. And then when they come to parliament, obviously, they start pushing for adoption of some of their manifesto, that thing. What? Promises, ne? Into parliament to become policy. Okay? And then you can even talk a bit about policies and the adoption there. That sometimes it's cumbersome because of opposition parties, blah, blah, blah. But the main aim is that all the political parties are claiming, or all of them are there for trying to improve lives of the people. But now, when laws are passed, once policies are passed after they are being signed from being built by the president, then they must be cascaded down. They must now be implemented. Okay? So the ministry, which is responsible for a policy, okay, because a policy might be on health. It will be the Minister of Health who looks into how that should be implemented or should be that thing, okay, realized, the goals of the policy, all right? And then as a result, it cascades down, and then the provinces also, okay? And then the local government also. I mean, local government is there to render services, but also to allocate, space or land, okay, for provinces and national to come up with their programs, right? If we talk about RDP and we say it's a provincial competency, then the local government must provide land, and then they start rendering services or, giving services to those people there, even though the houses, say RDP houses, were built through a provincial capital, right? So you see, you are showing your understanding of policy, negotiations, what quality, and all those things. Anything, guys? I think it was so nice throughout the week, and we tried to understand almost all the sections. Now today, we are saying let us include your understanding of all of them into this task number 1. Remember what I said. When you mention whatever that you mention, and you give us a backup, reason why you are mentioning that, giving us instances where you have seen that. You can even say in the State of the Nation address, the president talked about 1, 2, 3. This is proof that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, with the medium-term expenditure budget framework, the minister of that thing said this and what, and then you can mention all those things that are proof. That's why we say mention all the resources or the sources that we have used. Reference your sources. You may use electronic referencing. Reference your sources. So at the end, obviously, you are going to have a reference list where you can use Harvard's method of referencing. No problem. We won't be that strict. But let us see where you got information from. When you use a website, guys, remember, always in brackets put, if it's HTTP, what, in brackets say accessed, and then you write the date that you accessed it. If you accessed it 22nd, 28th, 2022, it's a recognition, it's an acknowledgement of that source. Okay. So here you have a latitude to talk about. We are not going to take your department. You are going to look at the public sector in total and pick up those things that you have looked into and the manner in which contemporary management, that thing of the public sector is involved. Do you think it's still based on the old way of doing things? Do you think there's an improvement? Do you think now people are invited to make, submissions? Okay, you've got imbizos, you've got what? I guess that is what's happening today. There's public participation. There are public forums. You can even give examples about municipalities when they go for their before they plan and all those things with the integrated development plan, that they involve the public, okay, for their IDP. So it's part of contemporary public management system. Leadership, you can even talk about, some challenges that make that some of the roles of government are disturbed by this and this and that. You can talk about economic meltdown. You can talk about, challenges that are there and how government is trying to resolve them. To protect what? To protect its role. Okay, its role in the public sector, in society, its role in society. Okay. The relationship between government and business. Okay. What role does government play in roping in business? What is the aim? Why? Okay. Is it because of the hope that job creation will be there? Okay, for the sake of society. That's why they say be argumentative. Analyze theories of management and leadership implemented in public management. What are they doing, these guys? Then you give examples. Then you can take projects, you can take programs, you can take, challenges which are there and how the government goes about resolving that or tackling them, Okay. The role of the public sector in society. There's so many things. And you can say to whether are those things being done correctly or not, what is the role of leadership? Do they really know what to do? What challenges are they coming across? And how do they try to circumvent that? How are they affected by international relations? So you will take your angle. Eh? I'm just giving you so many things to choose from, to look at where you can base your argument on. Do you see why is not everyone at the taxi rank who's got a national diploma in public administration? Yeah? Yeah, if it was easy, everybody at the taxi rank would be having that. Ne?
The academics.
So,
Wait, sometimes, guys, ne? It's like when you are at work and you are busy, and you ask yourself, bro, it's come cooking now these guys, are they aware of what I'm doing?
we were in one meeting recently with the executive mayor, and was lambasting people how certificated they are and how these certificates don't help. So one director came back very furious from the meeting to talk to the MM. Look, MM, we are academics here. Some of us have got doctorates. We can't be lambasted by a person who does not have a grade 12. And talk to us like that. If at least he knew what it takes to have at least undergrad, maybe we'll take him serious.
And guys, it's like that. You work hard to be where you are, and people don't see that. They blame you left and right, and they're not in your situation. I remember when I was still a principal of a school, and when you address parents, they think, they chow our money. Hey, what? I say, guys, how much money do you contribute in this school? And then, are you aware that altogether, the money that we get from parents is so much, looking at the school fees that you are paying? And look at what we do in the school. Are you aware that the amount that I told you about, I ran around, and apply it for funding and what. Now you have got this, you have got that in your school, you have got this. It's not from government. Government cannot give you everything, But you are unable to pop out at least just R5 per parent to have a person who'll be a security so that he gets remunerated every month. And I said we'll have 2 people. So 250 will be for the other one, 250 for the other, so that you can't have one person. I mean, what about during the weekend? What about in the night? A person cannot work 24 hours. You see? So we need these guys. And then, hey, government, hey, what? And people blame you when there's this thuggery and what. And when there's the alarm during the night, the neighbors, people who are just next to the school, they keep quiet and sleep. You can't tell me you didn't see the car or the plate number or the boys, or you couldn't just phone the principal and say, hey man, there's something here in the school. The alarm is singing here. Huh? It will wail and wail and no one will be saying anything. Things like that. It's hard, guys, to be on top. It's hard. We say those who wear the crown have many blasts to shake them off. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. It's not easy. So now you are looking at this thing, you are saying, guy. After getting that certificate, people are and when you come up to say, guys, how about if we do it this way? This bad way porn. Change. We've been doing this. And you want to come up with changes to say, but guys, you see, this is not working. How about if we do it that way? Can't we have, and they say, hey, when, hey. Anything, guys? Andre?
No, I think I'm good.
Have you seen how you are going to tackle it?
Yeah, I think it needs you to apply your mind.
Yeah. Really, because it's wide. It's not confining you. Okay? Because it doesn't say a certain project, you know? So guys, what are you saying? Should we go to the second one?
Maybe to come in, Mr. Block.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to let me come in also on that. As I look at the task one, like you have explained, and link it with formative activity one, which we have gone through, where we just define a bit public management and also the role of public sector. I think this task needs us to go into detail of what is public management. If I'm to give maybe a bird's eye view, where I define public management, I took it from the public management thinking and acting in 3 dimensions by Carol J. Hill, where he defined public management as a process where decisions and action of public officials in managerial roles ensure that the allocation and the use of resources available to government are directed towards the achievements of a lawful public policy goals.
Yeah.
Then on the roles, I quoted some of the research. I did some research there where I quoted that Gelden Hayes 1988 page 4 indicates that the role of the state is based on 4 ideologies, namely the laissez-faire capitalism, socialism, the notion of the social welfare state, and the notion of an economic welfare state. And in terms of the laissez-faire theory, the primary goal of the state is to provide an enabling environment for free competition among citizens. The government protects its citizens by regulating through enforcement of contracts by the court of laws, the protection of the individuals and their property, and the defense of the national community from aggression from across its borders. Within this framework, the government promotes free and unregulated competition. That is Gelden Hayes. Then on the issue of socialism, differs from laissez-faire capitalism in that it does not acknowledge private ownership and free enterprise. Socialism makes provision for the redistribution of income and social benefits such as free healthcare services, social grants, pension, free education, and the role of the state is the control of markets and redistribution of income and provision of welfare services for all citizens. I was just trying to juggle around that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Remember, you mustn't go so much out. Link it to contemporary. Remember, they say contemporary.
Yeah.
Now, you know, also try to look at the sources which are recent. You know, at least less than 10 years or 8 years. Okay. Like Bo Beck, like Bo, Matebula, Fortunate, like Bo Swana, like Bo, they've got these books, okay, which talk about, the public sector and the, transformation and all those other things in the public sector, right? So these guys, they Abu Mfuking, Abu, so many of them, and they are contemporary, and their argument is based on, the transition of South Africa into a new dispensation and how it is ensuring equitable share amongst different communities and population groups. Okay?
Okay.
And also looking into redressing the past imbalances. Okay? But now, how does it go about doing that? Okay? And what is the criticism against government on doing that? That's when you can mention a bit of the private sector to say business or the private sector is worried about 1, 2, 3, 4. Because remember, sometimes the programs that government comes up with might not augur well with the intentions and interests of the private sector, because they are there for that thing, for gain, you know. So as a result, you know, you can argue a point around that government is running programs, but there are some challenges on this and that and that. Government has tried to come up with this and give examples. You see, you are arguing on this, then you come to that. That's why they say argument should flow logically. Now, that one you can say, the present South African government now is using maybe this method. Is it laissez-faire? Is it socialist? Because you can see our government is mixed. It's capitalist socialist. Okay? We can't say it's a pure capitalist type of government that we have. All right? It is capitalist when it comes to business. But look at the responsibility that government took that are of a socialist nature. That's why business is complaining about some of them. Okay? Because when you look at how South Africa is doing that, you see some households have got a leeway to get that reduction or exemption, just like in schools. Exemption. We have got the POP, poor of the poor. You don't have that in other countries. So it's a socialist, you know, idea, but when it comes to other things, it is capitalist. I mean, like privatization, like privatization of some of the state entities and all those other things. Okay, and the manner in which our economy is structured. Okay, but the economic policy that we have. Okay, but you look at our monetary policy, how it differs from our financial policy. Okay, you can see there's a bit of socialist inclinations in there. All right, so your argument will flow logically if you can take this in chunks and say, on this one, this is what is happening. On this one, this is what is happening. So that we can see your overall view of the way in which government plays its role in the public sector. I get clear. We said you can't take everything.
No, it's here.
Yeah, but you can subdivide it and look at fight against poverty, for example. Okay, but you can also say redistribution of land. When it comes to this, government was aiming at 1, 2, 3, but this is what's happening, and this might be the challenges. Okay, so in its role, government has tried 1, 2, 3. Okay, and is it working or not? Okay, and leadership, the leadership theory that government is using. Anything, guys?
Can I ask a question there? When one is delivering the argument, based on South Africa using different governing policies or economic policies, can then one also approach it in a way government is delivering services to the people using the social economic system, then going also to capitalism, maybe mediate between those economic policies by saying the role that government is playing in its community or in its people is based on that social economic system. And when it comes to business, it's based on the capitalism. And then one try to argue it based on the two, on how government government is playing its role both on the people and business. I don't know if one can also, in the argument, put it that way.
Yes, because that's why South Africa, we say, is a mixed economy. I don't we normally say that about our country.
That's correct.
Yeah. So that's why you look at our financial policy and you look at our monetary policy. We are trying to close the gap between the two, so that there should be cohesion. Okay. You mustn't only look at how money is spent on government implementation of certain policies and programs, because remember, programs are from those policies, all right, at the expense of also doing away with how our economy is run, in the private sector, how we relate to business, how we repay our debt, how we take loans, and with the aim of doing what on, so and the prices of what do you say, imports, and import duties and all those other things. So you try to, it's a mixed bag, but you try to find some common ground there, so that you shouldn't compromise the social aspect, because that's why we are saying here the role of the public sector in society, all right? Health, education, security, what, all those, all right? Justice, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and how does government go about this? That's why they say, analyze theories of management and leadership implemented in public management. Okay, what type of leadership is implemented? How do they run? How do they implement policies to ensure that their role in the public sector, of this public sector in society, is aplomb? All right, it's up to standard.
Can I push another question, that block?
Yes.
Can also one include the recent events in terms of how government responded to them, and maybe put the argument if they were effective or not effective? If not effective, what would be one suggestion? I'm referring this now to the role that the government is playing in society. I will give examples of things like your COVID-19, your HIV and AIDS policies, the response of government towards such things that affect the society. Can one also include that in arguments as part of the role government is playing?
Yeah, because obviously we rely on it when it comes to pandemics. It's got the muzzle, okay? It's got the muscle, it's got the research that's in prowess, you see? But individually, so we might not all have the latitude of going to private clinics and getting expensive medicine and all those things. Okay, so government is always there to ensure, protect, and all right. So as a result, whatever they to feel, here government did this, what type of leadership, theory do you think government used, or the style of leadership? Did government have, a leadership, that thing, how can I put it, that led to us, going across that fire or that river? In the case of the time when you had floods, for example, okay, or felt fires in the Nice-Nade, in the Western Cape, the Northern Cape. What was the role of government? Okay, in the Northern Cape. You see, Fynbos and what? Do you remember there was fire there? But all those things, you mentioned them, in supporting your evidence or in supporting your argument, to show the role of government and to show the type of leadership that they showed in some of these instances. But now, because you are critically looking at all those things, you are also saying, however, there are challenges. Because in the case of what there was a challenge where government was blamed for this and this and this and that. You see? Again.
No, I'm clear. I'm clear. And now it also gives me an idea where these natural disasters happen and they did not become a national concern, perhaps provincial concern, but my argument would be recently in the Kalahari areas, there was this fire that crossed over to Botswana, or it came from Botswana, crossed over here, and it actually destroyed the grazing fields, but it was not given a national attention like the floods in KZN and the fires in Knysna. It was worse because mostly cattle were in most cases it was cattle and animals that were affected, other than the ones in Knysna where it was a homestead of people. So the question is, are we now not paying more attention to the animals than if it could have been people? You know, things like that, because we rely on agriculture for our food supply, and those cattle were forming part of that. As you know, around the areas of Vryburg is known as the Texas of South Africa. That's where mostly the supply of beef in South Africa come from. And that area was affected because the people around Kalahari are the ones that are selling to the market of Vryburg. But it never received that national attention, so one can argue that also in terms of the role that the government is playing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, now, if you give an example such as that one where you show that, you know, whether sometimes leadership is failing us when it comes to some of the issues, and then you can give an example, that example there, you see.
Yeah, and also how that can also affect the price of beef that can now, this was not given a national attention. Now the increase of the price of beef because the supply was affected, now it become a national concern.
Red meat, and we remain with poultry now. Anything, guys, because with fish is worse. Let's see if we don't have oceans. Fish is so expensive in South Africa. Only cheap in KZN. But you go to Eastern Cape, you go to Western Cape, yeah, fish. Now in these inland provinces, it's worse. It's not easy to find these fish markets like or restaurants like Abu Fisherways, Ocean Basket, what. It's not easy to find it filled to capacity like Abu Spare, you know. Because just one fillet and 13 pieces of chips, you have to pay 120 rand, you know. Whereas you could get a plate of 89 rand with a beef steak and a lot of chips and some side, you know.
Yeah. In Tataplo, we had an argument on that. Now he's giving me an idea. We had an argument on that based on our labor laws. And we went into the things like the regulatory working hours in South Africa. And the law became very strict in terms of in terms of, sorry, the chickens. In terms of how many hours an employee must work. And then they strictly say it must not be over 12 hours. You go to countries like Nigeria, their laws are not very hard. It gives people freedom. And now the question comes as to why. And you look at, these are scientifically proven, that the energy levels of someone who lives in sub-Sahara based on the diet that we have can have energy to sustain him only for 12 hours. Other than that, we go beyond points of tiredness that can lead to injuries. Now you look at countries like Nigeria, you look at countries like Ghana, the diet that they have, for example, here we eat starch, there they eat protein, they eat beans, they eat a fish on a regular. A fish is like chicken to them. You go to markets, everywhere you can get fish, and different types of fish. The ones that they can dry, the ones that they can make into powder, and then you can put them in every food you cook, and then you have element of the protein, which is good, that comes from fish. It gives them energy, and they are well built also. They have muscle, and they can work longer hours than us, you know. As a result, you find that our laws become very regulatory because of such diets, whereas in other countries, we have hardworking people that can go on for longer hours because of the diet they are. And I even posted a joke, and I said, our South African sisters who are dating Nigerians can tell the difference in energy. I don't want to go... Yeah, so it's all the diet also. Now, when you talk about price of fish, we run away from eating fish, and it has good proteins. It has the omega-5s and all that. We tend to eat more of beef, for example, because this is what we have. And though beef has protein, but the element of fat, the starch also. I mean, look at the maize meal that we're eating. We're taking away the roughage away, and all your we only leaving that powder which contains the sweet part of the corn, and that one is very detrimental to our health because we only consuming sugar, of which when you consume sugar, the body can easily turn it into, and then we have the problem of obesity, and we eat that a lot, you know. So I think also one can argue that for our government not to make decisive decisions in terms of our diet, I mean, they go on and not put VAT, for example, on maize meal, and then they say these are the food that are consumed. They should start discouraging that. They should, yeah, those food, the chips better, the potato is better. But look at rice. Look at flour, for example. It's purely sugar and carbohydrates. So government can say, let's increase or bring about the interest of people eating beans and replacing that with starch. You know, you can eat fish and beans as your meal, and few vegetables. You do away with that starch. That's how the Nigerians are eating. The Nigerians are eating beans and fish, beans and meat. You know, so they get your protein from beans. They also get your proteins from. That's why they are well built. They are tall. They are muscular. As for us, we are a bit short with that mokabanyana that will always pop out because of that too much sugar. You know, just the argument going through that. You know.
Who knows what is put in the maize? Because in the mill, because it's only predominantly us, the darker guys, who are said to have staple food, which is called pap. And the other guys is rice, is bread, and the bread also is mostly, what do you say, put in the toaster, is toasted, so to remove a bit of that water in there, and what, you know. But we, man, you want the kako, you know. And but who came up with that thing? Because when you look at our forefathers, you know, they were plowing there, but they had corn they had Mabele, and you know, the pub was Mabele, and you can see, you know, that's why you have most of these guys by this church, back in ZCC, they eat bohoba Mabele, ne? And look at how high they can jump.
Yeah, it's true, Dr. Block. The question is, who came up with pub? Because pub is not our tradition.
They walk distances to go, you know. When they're in uniform, they don't just get into any taxi and whatever. They rather walk. And it's exercise, you know. Because we eat that white pap and we don't know what is put in there. You know, if someone wants to kill us, they can just take Super Sun or whatever. And look at this pap these days. You know, it has changed. You put it for just some hours, the next moment it hands, you know, it's no more eatable. And you ask yourself, but what is in this? What is in this maize, a millimil? You know, what powders do they put into this millimil? And how does it affect us? Because now you have got other types, you know, impala, what, maize meal, what. And it's only with us, and you even get big bags. But you go to the suburbs there, you get only small, you don't get the whole 20 kg of millimil, you know. So it's for us. Okay, we know it's cheaper, and people might prefer it because you can, you know, down it with anything, water and what starch, water, whatever. It goes down. But the thing is, health-wise, I agree with you, really, because everybody who's obese, when you go to a doctor, they start by telling you about pap. They say, stop. Stop, because it's too much starch and carbohydrates and what, and, you know, yeah. Okay, guys, but thank you so much in that. There's a message that I got from one of our colleagues. I think she was ailing from flu, but later I think, I don't know when, but her home was robbed, and they also lost, apart from furniture, they even lost one of their cars. So she's saying she couldn't attend, but she didn't write her name. So I'm just putting out to you guys that please bear with her, and those who are able to contact her, please help her with the assignment. And, you know, let us wish her well and her family so that the culprits are apprehended and that maybe they retrieve their property and belongings. Anyone who knows about that? Ladies? Hi, guys. Are you with me?
Yes, to me it's still new. The news are new to me. Yes.
Anyone, guys, allow yourself? And the thing is, she didn't write her name. She just sent an apology for not attending classes this week because she had flu. And on top of that, her house was broken into, and that, you know, everything was stolen. Maybe, I don't know, furniture or what, and that, but that her husband was home. And also they lost one of their cars. So, yeah. Hey, yeah, this South Africa guy, say, you work so hard, and the next moment other people just come and take, you know, after you worked for so many years to accumulate. Yeah, it's really bad. Really, really bad. Okay, but if you get anything, guys, please try to, you can do it maybe on your WhatsApp, so that the lady tells you her name and you can help her if you can on some of the things we did, more especially the answers to the formative assessments. Okay. Thank you on that score. Guys, can we look at task number 2? All right. Here it says that access relevant documents from a previously implemented development project completed by your department or organization. These documents could include, but are not limited to, the project scope or project plan, the project closure report, the developmental projects progress report, the developmental project's initial budget, project meeting minutes. Okay? Your department was running a certain program, okay, a project, and you are going to look at these things which are written here, but not limited to only these. You might be having some distribution of responsibilities, like the either way structure operational plan. Okay, the budget is there. Yeah, the scope of the project plan, meeting minutes, but whatever that you can have to add to what is written here. You need to collect as much information about the project as possible. Use the information you collected, not you collected, and answer the questions that follow. You must validate the answers by providing evidence. So attach all documents you collected for the project to your portfolio. Okay, as I was saying, that you can do it privately, separately from your POE, and then attach it. Then attach all those things to your POE after you've answered this. Okay. Which development policy was used to implement this project? Explain your answer. Identify and list or highlight the objectives and assumptions of the project. Identify the organizational or departmental or department strategic goal this project is linked to. Illustrate the operating process used to implement the project. Substantiate your answer. Which public sector issue did the project address? E.g., poverty, fighting corruption, gender bias, etc. Do you think this was done successfully? Explain your answer. Identify the activities used to monitor and evaluate the outputs of the project. Do you think these were implemented successfully? Identify the issues and constraints of the project's financial human resource time frame. Use what you have studied about change management. What would you do differently to overcome the project issues and constraints? How would you implement the different actions you listed above? If you could implement the project again, would you do it the same way? If not, what suggestions would you make to the project manager to improve the outcomes of the project? If yes, what would you do to secure the sustainability of the implementation process? Okay, then to answer in report format, no longer than 15 pages, collate your information in an evaluation report. Your report should include, but are not limited to, the following. Okay, so actually you write as if you have researched and then you come up with a research report. Title page, table of contents, executive summary, introduction, background to the report, research concluded, conducted, analysis of research conducted, solution to problems identified, recommended improvement plan, conclusion, appendices. Ensure that you present your report professionally. Check for consistency in the format of your document. Use a text font, e.g. Arial, Times New Roman, Calibri, etc., acceptable for your organization. I think Ether Genesis is Arial, font 13, but we also 11, but we also allow 12. Okay, 11 or 12. Check the grammar and spelling of your report. Ensure that you present the information logically, systematically. Use graphs, illustrations where you can. And remember to interpret the information you present graphically. Remember to number. Yeah. Okay, Bralori, remember to number your pages. Okay, and remember to include your name and surname on the title page of your report. All right. Now let us look at the rubric of your report. What we'll be looking at, supporting documents included relate to a development project and work environment. So we'll mark looking at your supporting documents, listed relevant policies which relate to project implementation, explanations for policy inclusions are provided, listed or highlighted in supporting documents, the project objectives, listed or highlighted the project assumptions. Assumptions, guys, are what you thought the situation will be. Like you assume that everybody will be part of the project. You assume that you'll have enough funding. Okay? You haven't got that. You just assume. So that is an assumption. Identified the organizational or departmental strategic goal linked to the project. Illustrated the operating process represented by the project. Okay? That's the operational plan. Identified public sector issues addressed by the project and reflected on the success or failure of the project implementation with substantiation. Identified the monitoring and evaluation activities of the project and reflected on the success or failure of its implementation with substantiation. Identified project constraints. Okay, what issues were a disturbing factor, or that might have cropped in which were unnecessary or which were not expected. Risks, for example, constraints. Used change management process for recommended future implementation. Okay, these are the recommendations. Made sound suggestions to improve the outcomes of the project or substantiate the success factors of the project. Okay, but you'll also get marks on learner included all the relevant sections. Learner presented work professionally. Learner's arguments are logical and systematic. Learner's documents include all necessary requirements. Learner followed all the instructions. Graphs and illustrations are explained appropriately. Okay, that is a report, research report. Okay, so do you see that the marks will be allocated according to all these questions? So which means in your answering, we are going to talk about all these things. Okay, we have a title page, we have a table of contents. Remember, guys, table of contents, you put them after you are through with your report, because you might not know which section or which subheading or heading comes on which page. So after you are through, is then that you come to your table of contents, okay? Now, executive summary, remember guys, it's a short explanation of what transpired in your research, okay? What it was for, what was the purpose of the research, on what was it based, and how data was collected, as well as the findings, but in short, okay? So executive summary can be about half a page, all right? And then your introduction, that's when you introduce, okay, to say this research report will look into this and that and that and that and that, okay? It's based on this and that, and to look into, you know, the aim of the how that thing was conducted, and what, and how it was analyzed, the data was analyzed, as well as the recommendations. Okay, it's an introduction to that thing. In executive summary, you talk about what happened, but in a nutshell. You summarize. Okay, background to the report is actually, you know, that there was a need for this and that in our department. Problems were on that and that, and this was the issue. And as a result, you know, the department decided to embark on a program, or, you know, yeah, to eradicate this, or to do 1, 2, 3. That is the background to the report. All right. And research concluded. That's when you talk about, you know, what happened. All right. You got who to do what and what and what, and, you know, you planned, went to planning, you got a team, and that team, each was given responsibility to do 1, 2, 3, what, and resources were allocated, and this is what happened, and yeah. All right. And then you collected this, you did that, you did that, you did that. And then analysis, you analyze, you look at the results that you got from there. Okay. And solution to problems identified, this is what you came up with. That this is what we are going to do, this is what we are going to do, this is what we are going to do. Or this is what happened, this is what happened, this. And then recommended improvement plan. Now you are saying, next time, recommendations, this should be done, this should be done. More money should be added to what? More, you know, yeah. More oversight roles should be done on 1, 2, 3, or more personnel, or training should be given to, you know, this and that, for people to be clearly about, to be clear about what is expected of them, whatever that you can recommend, so that next time those recommendations are taken into consideration. And all right. And then in your conclusion, of course, you just conclude by saying what happened, and within the whole research. Appendices, of course, are all those attachments that you are going to attach there. All right. But I would also say that remember to do your references there. Okay. Now, when you look at this, access relevant documents from, now you are looking at a project. Now this project is already complete. Okay, they completed it. Okay, so you are retrospectively looking at, you see, it is like post-evaluation of some sort. Okay, what transpired, what was happening, what was the project all about, and what were the objectives, and all those other things. Okay, why was it necessary? Right. So obviously, that's why we say, what was the scope? What was the plan? Okay. And what was the report? In closing, what did the report say? Okay. And what progress reports, guys, are those reports to give when you are monitoring. Can be weekly, it can be monthly, but those progress reports, because from the progress reports, you can see as to whether the project was successful or not. Okay. The developmental projects initial budget. What was the budget? Okay. Give that whole budget there. And then project meeting minutes. Okay. What meetings were held and what was said in those meetings, those minutes there. All right. So collect as much information as you can about that project, which is complete. Okay. And remember, we said projects are based on policies. Okay. So which policy was used? Because a program and project come from policy. Based on this policy, we come up with this program, so that you base it on some piece of legislation. Okay. Objectives and assumptions of the project. Okay, the objectives were this and that and that. And the assumptions were that there will be enough, what the sources will be enough, the time will be enough to run this project and what. Okay. The goal was this and this and that and that and that. All right. The operating process used. Okay. This is how it was implemented. Okay. Now that is the gist there. That is the gist. Operating process. Okay. So many people were given responsibility to do 1, 2, 3, and monthly this had to be done, and this was what, and resources were allocated for 1, 2, 3, and the project manager was given the powers to do 1, 2, 3. So they met weekly and they did 1, 2, 3, and they looked into what, and by this time this was completed, and okay, that is the operating process. And the issue which the project was based on, was it to address poverty or whatever, job creation or okay? And if it was aiming at that, do you think it was successful? Okay. And how was it monitored? How was the process monitored? Okay. Because already you would have put in this progress report. Okay. So when you explain about how it was monitored, you can see on the project's progress report that monitoring was lax when it comes to this and that. Okay. And what were the challenges there? Okay. Do you think maybe people had challenges when it came to this and that because people refused change? Okay. And if then, I think they should have done 1, 2, 3, or if it was successful because this happened, so that's why. All right. But the constraints were this and this and this and this. All right. If you could implement the project again, would you do it the same way? Okay. That is part of the recommendations there. You see, it's part of these recommendations. When you say, do you think things were done this well? Okay. Next time, what could be done differently? Okay. Because these challenges were this and this and that. Okay, so now you are recommending that Next time, this will be done like this and that. If it can be done like this and that, okay? And this should be avoided. This should be done. Here you are saying, I won't do it the same, because there you have seen that it failed, or it failed to meet the objective. So that's why they say, if you'd be given a chance, could you do it the same? If not, how? If yes, how will you sustain it? All right. So you see, there's a relationship between 7 and 8. All right. So these will be in your recommendations. Okay? And if then you are saying analysis of research conducted, okay? You are analyzing the things that happened in there, that you found out that this was done like this was done like that, this was, because already here you gave us the background. And now you are saying, when you researched, you looked into this and that and that, you can say, I interviewed people who were part of the project. I took a sample from so many people, all representative. I used this type of sampling method, whether cluster sampling or simple random sampling. You know, what was your population? Okay, that is the research conducted. Okay, research conducted. Right. And you analyze it now. You are looking at what went right, what did not go right, and solution to the problems identified. Okay. Now, when you say solutions of problems identified, there's the results. Was it successful or not? What were the results? Okay. And then now, what can you recommend for improvement? Okay, guys. Don't worry about these many things. They are just a guide of what you are going to put here. More especially here, up to here. All right? Because you'll get it from the project. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to confirm something. We are doing this is a research report. Né?
It's your research based on, it's a research report based on what we have researched concerning or in regard to the project that was completed in your department. Okay? Because they say here, take that report, that project, documents about the project, and research on what the project was about, who ran the project, what was the scope of the project, and all those things. So you are reporting on us about all these things. The minutes when these guys were meeting and what, how it was monitored and all those things. Okay? A lot of things will come here on the research conducted and when you analyze, because we'll be looking at that report and you'll be saying, this is what happened, what transpired. You are reporting to us. And then you are using information that you got from the report, but also you sample people, you are going to ask them questions on how some of the things were done. Because now you have got a report from, you have got the project and you are looking at it and you look at what they had in mind. What was the scope? You know, in closure, what did they say? Okay. And what did they say about the progress whilst the project was being implemented? Now that this is completed, when you go out and find out whether the project was run successfully or not, you can do a desktop, guys. A desktop is you go to the archives or record section, you get records about that project, and you do your research based on the records that you get. So the data can be collected. The report itself is part of the data. The report about the whole project again. Okay? It's your data because you are going to make sense out of it. You are going to analyze that because it is data to you, to your management, to your department, to whatever. It is their report on the project. Okay? But you are going to analyze, you are going to look at the whole project. What happened? What was going on? If this was done correctly, what, you know? And where do you get the information about that? From the project report itself, because you see here where they say the scope and the closure, project closure report. It says according to them, this happened, this was successful and what. But now you are going to analyze, you are going to critically analyze that project by getting the report, by getting the scope, by looking at the money, the way it was spent, by looking at how it was monitored, who was given which responsibility, how did they fare, were they successful or not? Okay, what might have been challenges there? Okay, what do you think were the assumptions? That's why all those things I'm saying are these ones here, all of them up to 8. Yeah. And based on that, you are telling us now, this happened. It's not that you are repeating the report, but you are writing to explain to us according to you, okay, what they were doing, and you are critically analyzing. You are saying this was not done correctly. This what here they were doing 1, 2, 3, which I think they could have done in this fashion, and what. You are analyzing there. You are okay because they say use the information you collected. The information you collected. Where's the information? These things there. Scope, what operational plan, work breakdown structure, budget, all those things. You are critically analyzing. Let's not say you are criticizing. you are critiquing that project and there because you must get their report. Okay, what is your take on that project? According to you, was it successful or not? If you are given a chance, how can you do it? Now you'll be saying that in your recommendations. Do you recommend that next time this project to be done like this, or because it was successful, then we should sustain it by doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ensuring that everybody, you know, like that one of Kotter, make it stick, ensure that people don't go back to what they used to do. Okay, so it can be a project of job creation, can be a project of taba, trying to employ the youth. It can be a project on maybe training so many educators through this that thing. But also, there are many programs or projects that are run. But take the one that was completed. Look at why it was there. What was the aim? What was the goal? And they'll be there on that project again. So when you are critiquing, you are giving us a report that critique that. Again, now you as what do they call you? They call you a project sponsor or project what? Ne? You are the person who finally will say as to whether the project was a success or not, and then you are going to give a recommendation maybe to a board or to, if it was in a municipality, maybe to council. Okay? If it's in a province, maybe to legislature, where you are going to give a final a report on whether, some of the projects that they run in the municipality, one of them, whether it was successful or not, and what do you think might be the reasons why it was like that and what. And we are going to explain. Because remember, these guys, after that project, they give you the report. Now, you are critiquing the report before you are going to make your own report that looks at everything about that project. And you compile your own report. You get reports from the guys who are on the ground, and they are their project manager. He or she reports to you. Now you must go and report to Parliament or report to whatever. So you are looking at it and you are creating your own report based on that report.
Dr. Block, I have a project. It's a project or it's a program.
Project.
Yes, I just wanted you to clarify. The project that was happening is it was for the benchmarking the services of VIP protection and the development of a rotation strategy for VIP protectors to ensure the safety of the dignitaries.
Yeah. What was the purpose?
So question one because I want to use the project that I used on my previous model. It's just that on the previous model where you were explaining there and doing the research, but on this one you are expected to also attach the evidence.
Yes.
So one how to use the previous
You can
project,
use the previous one. Yes, ma'am. It's easier for you because already you have got information on that.
Yeah.
Now you are going to critique it. You are going to critique it and say what went wrong, what went right, how were things done. You are going to explain to us how things were done, and do you think those things were done correctly or not, or what? Okay, because here, that is the bulk of everything that was happening within that project. Okay, and then from there, you analyze. Okay, you analyze your research. You say, according to my research, this is what I found. This, that. Okay, and then solution to the problems identified. Do you think those solutions were resolved or not? Because remember, you said it was based on either poverty alleviation or security or better use of what, or right?
Yes.
And then you recommend. Now you recommend. You're saying next time this is how it should be done. This what. If this can be done, it might be better. This should be done. More what should be allocated, and all those things. Okay.
Oh. So one after on the abstract, like because I'm seeing the rubric. It's again the rubric is a guidance, just guiding us how you are supposed to put it. But one can put it on your own, like on my abstract. I can put the orientation part, like, and then the research purpose, the motivation for the study, and also maybe the research approach, design, the method. And like you were saying, like
no
I can
problem,
put my main.
As long as we have, as long as we have this, other things you can include, like, because remember, your abstract is your executive summary. I got now in research or abstract.
Yes.
All
yes,
right.
Yes.
And then background of the studies, background of the report. Okay.
Yeah.
This report is based on what, and what. Okay. And this happened, what. This is summarizing the whole thing. This is giving the background why you had to have that research. And then here it is now how that research was conducted. You took this, you took that, you took what, you even interviewed some other people for clarity, because in their report they write 1, 2, 3, so you went to them. Okay, that's why we want to move what is it, 10 to 15 pages. 15 pages, no longer than 15 pages. But 15 pages, almost everything about how you conducted the research. I bona by conducting the we no conduct a research ya ensure gore bona project a bona ba irile bjang. We're trying to find out whether the project was run according to budget, according to scope, according to what, according again. Based on these things, scope, progress reports, budget, okay. And I even mentioned some other things. Okay, quality, cost is budget, whether they were run correctly or what. So what can you use? You take their project, and then you look at how it was run, and you go and get some other things on the project. You can also interview the project manager and some of the people who were part of, running some sections of that. Okay. How did you do 1, 2, 3? How? Because remember, whenever of a report, they might skip some other things. So it's for you to say, this was not done properly, this happened, this what. After you've interviewed these guys, because you can't just rely on a report after the project. Again, you must also make your own research, look as to whether did they really do what was expected and all those other things. How did they evaluate it? How did they monitor and what? Because they are only giving a report. You can't just rely on that report. You can also go there. If it's something like in a municipality, a road construction or a bridge, by province, you can go there from province and go and visit the bridge, look at it, inspect it, so that you are sure that that report is really saying the truth about what transpired. Because when you are going to report there, you are going to be grilled with questions. Agree? Wabona in parliament or a minister or the deputy president, for example, they ask them about certain projects and they grill them. So you can imagine if he's got a report of someone and he did not make sure. And then in parliament, they say, no. But according to the Mail and Guardian, this, what. And during the process, this was done, and he's not aware. One of it was like the party. So this is teaching us, it is teaching us, or not necessarily teaching us, it is encouraging us to not only rely on the reports that we get when projects are run, but to also make our own investigation to ensure that what we get is actually what happened, and make our own reports. So that next time, and we can recommend to say next time, either we are no more going to use these people, we are going to outsource. Because what they are saying here, look at these challenges, look at this, look at that, look at how they were monitoring. So you are doing what? You are playing an oversight role. And we are relying on you. We saw people that were busy, they're fine, and they will give you a report. But you must go out and say as to whether things, the way they were done correctly or not. So you come with your own report based on their report and what they did, but you went there and investigated, researched as to whether things were done correctly, legally, did they follow certain policies or not? What were the constraints? Okay.
Can I come in on the block?
You can come in, Minia.
Thank you. Allow me to check my understanding about what you were explaining on this activity. From my side, because I'm working for the Department of Public Works,
Yes.
I managed to draw a report of a project which we did at Mkondo, which is Piet Retief, the construction of a boarding school. Under the Department of Education, we were building for education. Then I managed to have a chance with the section that is implementing project to require the information from them, which I think they will be helpful in answering the activity there. Some of the information which I got is that the project was to start on the 7th of March 2019 and be completed on the 7th September 2020. But when of the project was 421,750,000, it happened to be revised to 465 million rands, that project. And I will also mention the reasons why the money was 421 and also went up to 426, and of which, according to me, if I analyze, it was not good, because when we implement project according to what we learn in project management, is that we should we should be mindful of the time of the project, the budget, and the quality. Now, and the completion date also was revised to the 21 October 2022. So when I look at the reason why all these things happen, is that the assumption was that when the project was to start or was planned, we're going to be allocated enough funding to complete the project. Like I indicated that it was 421 million in the start. So what we noted is that around April 2021, the project was stopped due to, remember I said it was to be done 2019, but there was a time where it was stopped, such that the Department of Education for the next financial year, they didn't have money allocated for that project. And the reason for that was that we had this pandemic, which was unplanned, the COVID-19, where it compelled the National Treasury to redirect funds in order to mitigate the issue of COVID. So most of the project couldn't proceed, they were stopped because people were not allowed to be in groups and whatever. And that did open a way for vandalism in the project during that time, that period. Other people saw an opportunity to go and serve themselves in the project. And hence, when they resumed, they found that they needed to add more money so that to counter for the damages that had been done. But as I check, they didn't, after identifying that there is vandalism, they didn't keep quiet. They had to intervene by appointing a security company to look after the site. The other challenges which also they encountered is that at the time when they resumed, the weather was no more conducive for them. They had some rains which prolonged the project time. According to me, I wouldn't blame the issue of COVID as the main issue for having stopped the project. I think during planning, we should have anticipated for any eventuality that should this thing happen, then what do we do? Because we had to stop for a certain period to plan and to check how can we go back to site when there was COVID. And indeed, in the long run, we realized that project could have proceeded even during COVID time, because there were some measures that one needs to put into place. We were to put sanitizer, people had to put masks, you were to reduce the number of people, the teams that were going to work on site. So, but because everybody was in fear, this happened, and it ballooned the cost of the project. So, and from the policy point of view, is that the project, one was to provide access to the students, to the learners around the Mkondo community, so that they can be better off after, they can have a place to learn which is conducive, and of which from policy point of view, it was good for the government to have a project in that area. We didn't only look only to benefit the learners to have access, but we wanted the project also to empower community in terms of job creation, whereby as the project proceeds, and we anticipated that people around that area will get jobs, some as laborers, some as artisan bricklayers, electrician, and whatever. Then also from contractor, Triple BE, we expected that the main contractor will provide construction to the subcontractors, to the smaller contractor or emerging contractors, so that at the end of the day, when the project is completed, they should have gained skills, and also in terms of financially also benefited. So in that way, we would have addressed part of the triple challenges which the NDP is talking about, that is unemployment, inequality, and poverty. Yes. So allow me to stop there. I just wanted to give a brief that I understood what you require from us as a research. We need to go out and get information, interview those people and the like. And I think also I was of the view that also on this, because the information I get from other people, it will be also proper for me to indicate that I will be using also a questionnaire. Like we have learned that there should be a survey, focus group, interviews, and the likes. So that's how I'll be approaching the question. Thank you.
Yeah, because look, you had a project manager, né?
Yeah.
So they report to you, you get their report, and you find that you are not satisfied. You try to make sense of what is contained in that report, why some of the things happened. Okay, that's why you make your own research, and based on that, you'll also, like you are saying, go out and find out from the people who were involved there, not only the project manager, because he's the one who have written the report. So for you to can see as to whether you met the outcomes or the goals of government, the Millennium Development Goals, did that help? Did that work? Because you are going to give a report to a higher body now. And you are going to report now to the department at the highest level. And they want to know about all those projects, what transpired. Again, now you are responsible for the different projects which are run. It's education, it's health, it's what. All of them, their budgets are with your department. Okay, and you have to implement, you have to appoint service providers and all those other things. And all these projects, these guys report to you. They come with their reports. But now you must go and report further to say, okay, on this one, this is what happened. So I understand it's very good. That is what you can take, and you can do something from that. You'll be able to answer this. Other guys, thank you so much.
Tata Block, just a quick question.
Yebo?
So one can also the question is related to the attachment of the information. So if I've quoted something on my research about because mine will be based on the strategy rotation or rotation policy, do I should attach as well, ne?
You attach what?
Let's take maybe my research that I'm researching is based on the rotation, like, so I've quoted the DPSA rotation policy of 2008. So should I attach it, ne? As a reference?
It's Wakata. Yeah, Wakata.
No, I think some is not noted.
Are you saying do you have to attach the report on the project from the DPSA?
No, I'm just saying if I've quoted a DPSA rotation policy, that is in of what I'm researching there. Should I attach?
Is that a project which was run, which is complete?
Yes, yes.
Okay, but what you are going to attach is the scope and everything about that project. The things, yeah. The scope, their budget, and what. It can be a shortened version of the budget. You might not, because some are very, very long. It might be something very huge. But something about that, so that we can see what the project was all about and whether you have used all those things that are there in order to come up with your own version of whether this thing was successful or not.
Okay.
Yeah. And when it comes to, say, some of the policies, okay, there's no need to include the whole policy, because the policy itself sometimes is a big document. It's like you can't attach the whole PFMA to prove that this clause was talking about. No, you can just mention it and say, according to a PFMA section what, on this, that the accounting officer was supposed to 1, 2, 3. You see? So you don't have to include the whole document. What we want are those things that are concerned with that project. What these guys are saying, this is what we did. Let's see your scope. Let's see what the goals were. Let's see what your perimeters of operation. Because sometimes they go out and then that increase the time and then it affects the scope as well as that thing. And the quality as well as the cost. Why what? And other documents, okay, then that you can have. Like a shortened version of their budget, and operational plan. What do they have that they've planned, and whether they operationalized it the way it was supposed to, or there were some deviations here and there that you can pick up. And when you interview these guys, they might say, no, this is what was happening and what was. So according to when you're going to analyze, you're going to say, the results that I found was this, that people were doing this, people were doing that, and the employees were complaining about what, and there was sometimes a strike because they were not paid and what, and all those things will lead you to analyze, to say, when I analyze, okay, these results, then this is that and that and that and that and that. When I analyze my data, this is that and that and that and that. That is now your results. The result is that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and then now you recommend. In my recommendations, this should be done. This should be done. This should be done. This should be done. Clark, then you wrap up with your conclusion, and then you can just reference those things that you used today. Any anyone, guys, maybe you've got a project and you are worried how you are going to go about answering this on that project. Can we look at the rubric again? You see, when you look at this rubric, it channels you, okay, to the most important issues, okay? Supporting documents, policies that you have listed. Remember I said legislation, that this project was according to Public Finance Management Act that CEO should again, because when you analyze, you're looking at what were the objectives or the goals. Objectives. Some people sometimes really talk about goals if it's a program, but normally, what were the objectives? What they thought they would achieve at the end in the short term, all right? And whether that they did achieve that or not, all right? So the assumptions, like Mpate was putting it there, that the assumption was that this is going to be the case, but it happened differently, all right? So, which means their risk identification and management plan was not in place. Because each and every project, you look at the risks, okay? You analyze the risks, and then you look at your plan on how you're going to mitigate against those risks. If this happens, this is what we can do. If this can happen, like when you are busy with a building, for example, if it can rain, is everybody going home and waiting until the sunshine after a week? What if it rains for the 2 weeks? And it's just, that drizzling rain, that light rain. And people are sleeping and say, it's raining. We're not going to work. What can you do in the meantime? Because those guys are going to be paid. They're going to be paid. They won't say because last week it was raining. Okay? If the agreement is after this project, you get so much. Those guys will want that amount. If you say a week, I'll give you so much. The subcontractors are the ones that, of course, you can say, so many bricks per day, and then it's so much. So they know if they didn't put those bricks on. Have you seen these guys when the agreement is that a wall up to this level, you get so much. Up to this level, the window level, after you put in the windows, and then you get so much. And then at the end of the roofing and when everything, what, get so much. After plastering, you get so much. Have you seen that those guys, they work when it is raining? They make some plan. You find them having plastics and what, and busy building them. Or if the rain is going that way, they start that other side. And they avoid having a lot of dagga. Or they use dagga, they mix it somewhere where it is enclosed. Okay, so that rain should not, weaken the cement that they've used there. Why? Because they're looking at them being paid. Okay, but if you see, so those are some of the risks management strategies. That if you say, all right, per month I'll give you so much. What if in 2 weeks these guys did not work? You said per month, and they want their salaries, they want their wages. If you say per week, end of the week, whether they've done whatever or not. And on the other hand, remember now, costs are escalating. And it might even affect what? The quality of the workmanship. You see? Maybe they put on the plaster, but they did not smooth it. When they come back, it's dry. Are they going to remove that plaster and start mixing fresh dough? Dagga. You see, how much cement are they going to use? You see, so such things, that's why we say now, like he was putting it, that there was no risk analysis and management, or plan on how we are going to mitigate if this can happen. I mean, during COVID, are you telling me that Regenesis was closed? It's a private institution. It wasn't closed. We had to devise some means. We went out to Limpopo and gave people gadgets, tablets. We gave those teachers tablets because we couldn't come, they couldn't meet because of distance, that thing, distancing and all those things. But now we went there and they delivered tablets, and then from there gave them whatever, and what, and showed them how they can use them and how to get into the portal and whatever, what. You see, and lessons continued. You see, but if it was like a university, for example, where lecturers know that whether I've worked or not or what, because government per annum, they give us so much for the university. We always have money, and then there's no problem. I've seen with my daughter, because she's a lecturer at Tekis. Okay, she's lecturing engineering there. What, all those things about engineering. Ne? Now, materials or what, something like that. Now, she was saying, Papa, now it's king, how, she was relaxed. You see, because always students were saying, we had problems, we what. Because some, of course, it is. But now with those ones, government was saying, okay, if they said Regenesis, what can you do? Because we will not pay you. Because these guys are not taught. I mean, why should we pay you when these guys are not taught? So we had to devise some means, you see? First, to say, guys, there's a risk here. Lockdown and what. But what can we do to have contact? You see? But not physical. So such things. So that's why we say, when you come up with your assessment of the situation as to whether it was successful or not, and what issues might have been problematic and recommendation, you look into such issues. You see, the monitoring and evaluation activities of the project and reflected on the success or failures of the implementation. Was it implemented successfully? Do you think the way in which it was monitored, it was to the benefit of the public sector or not? All right. What might have been wrong in the way in which that project was monitored? Okay. When was evaluation taking place? Did it only take place after the whole project was complete, or did you have, periodic evaluations? You see, 3 months or quarterly, every 4 months or every 3 months or half yearly until the project is complete. Because you can monitor, but you can't monitor until the project is complete, and it's after 2 years, and you only evaluate. You see, because always when you monitor, you pick up some challenges. Okay, then when you evaluate, you recommend up to that phase, the end of that phase. That's why some people call it a milestone. A certain phase complete, and then go into the next phase. You can see it on your critical path. Okay, where a milestone comes in. And then you are trying not to disturb the critical path. It continues so that the preceding and the succeeding are not interrupted. And then you don't have preceding activities taking longer because they delay the start of the succeeding activity. Okay. So in that project, the sub-projects, how they align to each other. Because sometimes you can't expect people to start with the roof before they have a foundation. Even if it's a steel structure, there's some sort of foundation. for those that still. But if they just start roofing and then the foundation is not strong, and then, or if it's walls, and then before the foundation is strong, they start building. What happens if it rains? It's going to disturb that foundation because it's not yet strong. They should wait for it, maybe a day, 2 days, so that it becomes strong. They are sure that they can start putting them course. All right? So some things come first before others, and other activities rely on the successful completion of the preceding activity before they can start. Okay? You don't give birth to a child and then he starts talking. No stammering, nothing. You'll faint as a parent. You expect that child to go step by step, either to crawl, even if it might not be long, but crawl and then try to stand up and then start touching things and hold on to things to practice walking. And then from there, leaving them walking, falling, standing up, trying to walk, fall, until now she's fully or he's fully balanced. Because you have got in the ears there, you've got the cochlea, you've got the perilymph and the endolymph. And then there must be that equilibrium, that balance there, until the child is balanced now, so that he does not easily fall. I get me from health. Don't forget, I'm also a former life sciences educator. We used to call it biology. That's why I have so many doctors who say, yeah, why is that doctor? Because of the way you were, teaching us biology. Anything, guys? Okay. You see now there, the total marks of the practical assignment there and the knowledge questions, and then we give you that and we sign. All right. We talked about the CCFOs, all right, and we talked also about the review of assessment. All right. Some people prefer not to fill this in because sometimes other people are saying we wait until you have assessed us and what. But to me, I mean, just complete this. I mean, the assessment related to the registered unit standard. And when you look at it, there's nothing that is not related to the unit standard when you look at the questions, the way you are assessed. Okay? And then also, when you look at some of the what is asked there, to say the assessment was practical. You had to go and get evidence and all those other things. The assessment was time efficient, cost effective, and did not interfere with my duties. Okay, assessment. All right. The assessment instruments and judgments were fair, clear, and understandable. Okay. What instrument are we referring to? We are referring to that instrument that says, this is how you are going to be marked. Okay. My special needs, if anyone identified, I mean, we never had anyone who said, I don't understand English, I can't see properly, I won't be able to see on the screen and all those things. We never had one. My feedback that I received was constructive, even when I requested help. Okay? This is when you're asking me questions, when you are saying, like when we're doing the formative assessments there, we talked and all those other things. This can be one thing that says, I will fill this after they've marked. I found this part of the learner workbook and portfolio guide particularly helpful. It will depend what you say in here. I found this part of the learner workout and portfolio guide hard to understand, if then it was hard. Simple. You see, rather than wait after we have marked you, we said competent or not yet competent, then we say, please fill in this. Then it's sent to you. And then you don't have enough time. Self-reflection. Guys, your strengths. Write something there, please. You can't just say procrastination. Here, procrastination. And the person says, always on time. And then future improvements, time management. I mean, guys, at our level. Hey, that's why you don't have yes or no answers here. You know, you don't have yes or no answers, or what we call what do we call them? Okay. Yeah, it is application. We give you scenarios. We say, you know, how would you do such a thing? What? It's practical. It's more application than just telling us what I just said now, and then I give you 5 marks. Just repeating. I mean, okay. Right, you are not appealing yet, and there's no recognition of prior learning, RPL. Okay. Other people could have asked for RPL, but RPL, what I told, like, because you have to fill in a portfolio with things that look like that are in line with all the unit standards requirements. Still, you fill in the POE because we want to see if you have an understanding of the things which are in here because of the experience you had being long in the public sector. So as a result, there's no need for you to sit for exams, to study, and then we must credit you, give you credits for this module. It takes longer than if you could have just come and studied and just answered and then got the competence, that thing. Okay, and this one, appeal. You are not yet appealing, so there's no need to fill in this one. Okay. RPL, not yet. So you leave those ones. Pre-assessment is okay. You're just explaining whether I explained all these things to you. Just tick, 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 tick. You won't die. And yeah, application for assessment. This one is important, guys, because according to CETA requirements, you know, those who are from education, a learner must indicate that he or she is ready to be assessed. Okay. If they don't sign anyway, or they don't say we are ready to be assessed, then we take it. If we say they are not yet competent, it's unfair because we never tested as to whether they are ready. And declaration, guys, this where you are going to write the resources. Of course, you are going to say Regenesis workbook, what NDPA workbook on maybe public management. Okay, and then maybe WTTP, what, accessed when, WTTP, what, accessed when, okay, BERC, what, understanding the public service, what, ne, you know, Matebula, introduction into what, ne, just like that, right? Haynes and what, there's so many people on public management, you have got material on that, then you sign. And this one helps you guys. You find that people have left a lot of things not filled, yet they've signed this, they've ticked. Okay? Because if it says rules, regulations, you look at it. Did you sign and all those things? Tick. Pre-assessment agreement checklist. Have you ticked? Have you put it in there? Candidates' rights responsibilities. Is it there? Application for assessment. You see, these are very important things that you have to check as to whether they are there or not, you have signed, you filled in those templates or not. Anything, guys, on this module before we call it quits? How was your week with me? Had some challenges here and there, but we circumvented around them.
Thank you.
O tlapisa ngwana, wa mo tlapisa o tlohela ditšhila ka metsing o tsholla metsi o ntsha ngwana. You don't throw away the bath water with the child inside. Wa mo tlapisa and then o tsholla metsi le ditšhila, but you leave the child. Okay. Anything, guys? What do you think? What do you take? What is your take? Do you think this you can qualify to get your credits from the SETA? But you have outstanding modules, and Tate Lucky.
Thank you, Mr. Block or Mr. Bloko.
Yeah.
It was a very informative session with not really particular on this one, even with the previous one for research. I find it very easy when you articulate it and when you give examples, and to give examples that they relate to our everyday things or the things that are happening within our vicinity. And even with me now from a private sector, it becomes much easier for me to know the inside of the public sector. And thanks for that. I wanted to say, I remember you mentioned something one of the days to say, when we will be going forward to enroll maybe for the master's level, then we're gonna have to ask you maybe to motivate with the other people. I just want to find out if can we have your maybe your details as to maybe your phone number or your email address so that we can talk with you regarding that individually on our individual capacity. Thank you.
Okay, can I put it in our WhatsApp group, because I'm there in the WhatsApp group?
Okay.
I'm there in the NDPA WhatsApp. Let me see there.
Which one is that, Tate Bloko?
Let me tell you, this one, yeah. This one, good morning, colleagues. Where are you? In Albu Maropeng, in Albu MJ Mtsweni, Mahata, TJM, Nkepile.
I think that is not ours.
Musebia.
I think it's the other group.
Is this the other group?
Yeah. Remember here we are, I don't know how many groups are we here.
Okay, so the guys who were saying here, who were saying, are we on? They're not, they did not get what? Those saying on our side, what? Oh, as they alone, eh?
No. That's a different one.
Okay.
Also in the
okay, guys. Okay, you can let me write it somewhere here.
Thank you. On the chat box or there. Okay.
I want to put it where it is. Spaces again. Yeah. Is a Cotonyan. And then let me get highlight.
Yes, clear.
Clear, and thank you.
Okay, then you can phone me. Because Babang, already you've got some degrees, Babang, you've got some senior degrees and all those things, and then we can talk, and then I'll talk to the dean, and yeah, I go to the big fish, and he'll just he'll just instruct or delegate to the other guys. Okay, so guys, I'm very grateful for our meeting. You know, always when I meet you, it's so interesting, and I enjoy, you know, meeting you because we discuss, we talk. You know, if you find a group where colleagues are just quiet, you talk to one person, and you don't know whether they're angry. You know, you crack a joke, they're angry. You don't know whether they'll report you and say, yeah, I said this. You know, a bit childish, a bit, yeah. And you find that you don't gain much. You know, with you, I gain a lot. You know, of course, even with other groups, you gain a lot because some of the things that you are saying, guys, it's not that I'm familiar with those things. Because look, you are hands-on in your department and you know exactly what is going on. Okay? And some of the things that we talk here, already you have got knowledge about those things. It's just that here we put them in perspective in a certain way. But normally those are some of the things that you do. I mean, finance, what, you deal with these things on a daily basis. Okay, some of the things like policy, strategic planning, and you know, management and whatever. It's just that now we are putting it in a certain way so that you can get recognition for that in a form of a piece of paper, which is called a certificate. But not that you don't know about these things. Okay? It's just some things that they add here and there. But you know legislation. I remember when I'm with municipalities, sometimes they even tell me, no, man, now there's another one. He talks about 1, 2, 3. I say, how? You see, because I do so many things. I might not be aware of the nitty-gritties of some of the changes which are within your department, because it might only be relating to your department, okay? Unless if it is published out there and then everybody can read about it and then we can start digging into it, you see. So we gain quite a lot from you guys when we, you know, when we communicate and, you know, yeah. So it's nice, and thank you on that score. And hope that you know, you do it, you make it. I'll see when I get your POEs. I've marked quite a lot of your POEs and modules, as well as that other group, and hope that I also get these POEs. I know probably they'll wait for me. I might be on leave for some time, even though sometimes they give you work whilst you are on leave and you keep on marking. And your wife will be fighting to say, wait, Namar. You know. But the thing is, I wish you all the best, guys. I'm just worried about the lady who said, you know, she had a break-in and yeah. But probably maybe she will contact me because she wrote me a WhatsApp. So probably she will contact me because I answered her, and you know, she said thank you because I consoled her and her family. Yeah. So thank you so much. Enjoy your holidays. Just do this POE. Get over with it, and you know, send it next week or that other week. You know, and let's work on it, and amen. You know, so that you enjoy the holidays. You know, you are through with Regenesis. Okay, you'll start again normally next year, maybe with a master's degree. And all right. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm going to force. I'm going to tell the directors, or hey guys, this group, I must be there. Because last time they were graduating here, they say a lot of students were asking, yeah, where's Block? Where's Mr. Block? Where's Mr. Block? You know, yeah. And I wasn't in, you know. And even last time they went to Limpopo, and those guys were graduating PDM. And, you know, because most of the time you find that during graduations, we are busy, you know, with others somewhere. And they say, no, you are not going. We're only taking so and so, so and so. You know, and when it is here at Regenesis, you find that I'm not even here in Gauteng. You know, so yeah. But with you guys, I'm going to make sure I will, yeah. Because the last time I attended the graduation ceremony here because I was available. It was when? Somewhere during winter, I think. There was one, I think 2 groups, master's group and PDM. No, it was PDM and some other guys, yeah, from business school. We're graduating here. All right, but last month it was almost, yeah, so many. Even those guys who were doing a doctoral degree with us were graduating doctorates, you know, with red garments. It was so nice. But I was not here. Just watched a bit online, but I was busy. Okay, thank you guys. We will meet during your graduations, but also when you phone me about whatever concerning Regenesis. Okay. Greet your families. Tell them I love them because they allowed you to be with us. So if it wasn't because of their support, you would have dropped, you know, out somewhere. All right. So now they will see you often because you'll be through with Regenesis. So at least they can see you and Tate. Instead of always saying, hey, man, keep busy, man. And be in your study room there. The kids, the grandkids, trying to run to you. But this is the one that you know. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bolok. Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Malakacheko akabona ntate Zwane. Korubi izigati. Huh?
Then come on, got the people who attended.
Yeah, ngiyabona muhle muhateni. Sonke rubies. Okay.
Oh, that unyamala like last minute.
Last minute, last week lesone. Last day. How bona ra feditse man. Thank God yes. Okay, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.